Alright, what's going on, big dogs? SG Leo here, and welcome back. And in today's video, I wanted to discuss the recent controversy surrounding the up-and-coming video game Hogwarts Legacy, and why it has the transgender community up in arms. So let's dig into this. Alright guys, so the recent controversy surrounding the up-and-coming video game, Hogwarts Legacy, which is an RPG-style game set in the Harry Potter universe, has a lot of members of the trans community expressing anger and disappointment over the quote-unquote lack of representation in the game. So, for those of you who have never played an RPG-style game or don't know what that is, at the very start of almost every single RPG-style game, you get to pick a character, and you get to kind of change them into yourself, basically. That's the big appeal in these games. So normally you get to pick your gender, your race. If you wanted, some games will have elves, aliens, monsters, whatever you can pick, and then you'll get to pick your gender, and then you get to create the character to try to make it look as cool or as weird as you possibly want to do. But in this game, you can choose human, and then there are the genders male or female, right? And this has the transgender community up in arms. Not only that, but they are also upset that they are even publishing this game because the creator of the Harry Potter series, J.K. Rowling, has a long history of tweets that are basically out against the trans community, right? She's very pro-LGBT, except for the trans community, which is a weird combination, to say the least. And again, this has sent the trans community into a massive panic, leading to calls for boycotts of the game, and for many of these people in this community to go out and spam negative reviews on the game. Now, before we dive deeper, it's important to consider why attacking Hogwarts Legacy is not only really freaking dumb, but is also probably the worst way they can go about this, right? This is the worst way for them to achieve their goal. First and foremost, boycotting a game is very, very unlikely to bring about any meaningful change. They boycotted Harry Potter several years ago because there's no gay people in the game or in the book series, TV, movies, whatever. And J.K. Rowling just came out and was like, well, Dumbledore's gay now. And that was it. That's all she did. And that appeased absolutely nobody. The video game industry, on the other hand, is very, very large and makes billions of dollars every year. And almost no games that I can think off the top of my head have really ever had a trans character in them. And yes, there are several major reasons for this, okay? First off, developers are very unlikely to change their content based on the action of a small group of consumers. Although this has started a trend on apps like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it is still a very minute number of people who are upset over this, right? This isn't something that's massively trending, other than the fact that people are reacting to these reactions and making fun of these people for being so upset. So why would the game developers put tons more money into a game to add characters who almost no one is going to play in the first place? They will lose money on that investment. Not only that, but what would they make a trans person in this game look like? I feel like this is a never-ending spiral, no matter what the game does. If they don't add a trans person into the game or trans options into the game, people are going to be mad and upset and yell at them that there's not enough representation in the game. However, if they do add a trans character to the game, I know just as well as most of you probably know that these same people will be just as upset and up in arms about how we stereotyped them and made them look a certain way, and how that's not how we look and that's not how we act, and blah, 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 right? It's basically a lose-lose for Warner Brothers, the publishers of this game. Additionally, boycotting the game has simply led to the developers of other games not adding to the community as well. These developers are simply seeing this boycott and stuff like that, as a sign that these are people who aren't even going to play their game in the first place. So why would they go out of their way to try and get such a niche portion of people to come and play their game when they already have millions of people who are ready and willing to play the game now without adding in, again, or spending that kind of money to this game, right? But not only that, as we can see from the past, boycotting a game or asking for a complete takedown of a video game has simply just made people look it up and want to buy it more, right? Look at games like Grand Theft Auto, the Manhunt series, and the Postal series. These were games that sent the entire media, not just one community, into an absolute frenzy. These were games that were banned in nations, in countries. These were games that were boycotted, protested against, had the media and every news cycle talking about how terrible these games were. And this led to even more people just wanting to get their hands on a copy of this game. It's like when your parents tell you can't do something that you probably weren't going to do, but you're like, maybe I should. All of a sudden, you just really want to do that one thing, right? Like when somebody tells you can't do something, you all of a sudden just have the urge to do that thing, whether it's good or bad, right? And we can see that with how people are reacting to the controversy, right? Many people are seeing these trans community people outbursting, ranting, screaming into their phones, into their microphones on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, you name it. And then these guys are stitching these videos or reacting to the videos by going out and buying 3-4 copies of the game or making funny videos reacting to these people freaking out over such a dumb point, right? Especially that they're getting mad over a fictional video game, right? Which leads me to my next point. Attacking Hogwarts Legacy ignores the fact that the game is set in a fictional world. This world was made over 20 years ago. The first Harry Potter book released in 1997. And it has a well-established story with its own rules, limitations. The Harry Potter universe is a well-established world with its own rich history, characters, cultures, icons, faces. It's also important to consider that the developers of the game and of all video games probably didn't deliberately exclude trans people. They probably didn't sit in their meeting room or their boardroom and go, you know what we don't need in this game? Trans people. Screw them. Let's get rid of them. Let's put a stop to them right now. No, we all know the political tension in the world nowadays. More and more TV shows, commercials, sports teams are doing pride nights, trans nights. Almost every major publication in the world is out in support for these people. So I find it very, very unlikely that they are purposely not adding in trans people to this game. Which, by the way, there is one transgender person in the game. She, or originally he, so I'm going to say he, is a shopkeeper in the game. Now, the shopkeeper doesn't outright say that he is trans, but it's very heavily kind of notioned that he is. Basically, in the game, if you talk to him, he says that it took a while for his former classmates to realize that he was a witch, not a wizard. So basically saying that it took them a while to realize that he identified as female and not male, okay? And so it's very possible that the quote-unquote lack of representation is honestly just a lack of time and a lack of funding and a lack of maybe staff or people who are in charge of the character creation portion of the game to implement trans people into the game, or the company itself is fearful of adding these people in and still receiving controversy. Like I said, we all know that almost every major corporation and every company is on the side of the LGBTQ community. So for them to purposely not add in these kind of people or transgenders into this game, or lesbians or gays into their games, just seems very unlikely. My perspective is basically that they either didn't have time, or that they didn't have the money, the funding, or they simply weren't told to add these people in. And a lot of these people are just coders, graphic designers, people just doing their job. A lot of these people probably aren't sitting around when they're making this game thinking, man, we should add in a bunch of transgenders right now. No, they're probably sitting there thinking, okay, how do I want this to look? How do I want that to look? They're just going off of what they're told to create and make, right? Again, the Harry Potter universe is massive. There's plenty of time for J.K. Rowling to write 7 more books if she wants to. I'm sure we're going to see more games. I'm sure we're going to see TV shows, books, movies, you name it. I'm sure we will see more eventually at some point. So, in conclusion, Hogwarts Legacy is a video game. And although the trans community is up in arms about it, from everything that I have seen, played personally, and witnessed in this game, I don't actually think that the quote-unquote lack of representation was on purpose, and I don't think that that is a reason why people should cower away from the game. The game is an amazing experience. It has many positive reviews, and I think everybody should go out and give this game a chance. I don't think we should be sitting there trying to gatekeep a video game or block people from playing it simply due to political differences outside of a fictional world. Now, if you're one of those people who are protesting this game or boycotting it, again, I really wish you'd give it a shot, and I guarantee you, you would have a wonderful time. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Let me know what you think down below. And until next time, guys, have a wonderful night.
I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body in Harvard above me.